It's time for the Wally Methot Show. Now, here are your hosts, Brent Wallace and Marc Methot.
Welcome to the Wally Methot Show, everybody. I'm Brent Wallace. He's the pool boy, Marc Methot. That's right. Marc Methot owns a pool and has yet to be in it this year, and it's the end of July.
I know. We've had a bacterial issue, but I think a lot of it had to do with the spring and me not being around to tend to it because we don't leave our pool covered in the winter. And a lot of stuff got in there when I was doing the World Championship coverage. I was in Toronto. So anyway, it's finally ready to go. The kids are going in today, Wally, oddly enough.
Oh, very good. Because it looked like a homeless shelter.
It looked like shit. I know. And you know what? It was so frustrating, right? Because you're just staring at it. And I realize this is a first world problem, but I would stare at it every day. Finally, I'm getting in. I'm pumped.
Okay. I'll be over tomorrow with my big unicorn floaty.
Are you going to wear like a full bodysuit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Moving on.
Before people ignore us and turn us off. This show, by the way, we're pleased to announce, brought to you by Ridge Rock Brewery, our new partner to bring on board. He's a good friend of ours, one of the four owners, probably does the least amount of work. Calvin DeHaan, played in the NHL, as we all know, of course, over 500 games. So we're excited, Meth.
He lives around the corner from me, Wally. Did you know that?
Well, he's building a new house. Yeah, maybe he can come fix
it's
your
gorgeous.
pool.
Yeah, they're right around the corner on River Road in the Manatik area. So we're gonna link up at some point. There's a place called Kelly's Landing, nice little patio on the water there where a lot of people go to, and I think we're gonna plan on having a couple beers there. But yeah, really good dude. Happy that he's on board with us.
We just ate there the other day, by the way, incidentally. Coincidentally,
no way.
I guess. Yeah.
And you never thought to call, eh? Like it's
they only
a 2-minute drive.
They only had room for 4, so that was I couldn't fit you in. Otherwise, anyway, by the way, go to Ridge Rock Brew Co. And ridgerockbrewco.ca, and you can order mix and match the beers. They've got award-winning beers. Some of them are really good. There's a few empties behind me right now, which is there's blonde amber ale, the APA, which I really enjoy. They have stouts. Just go there. You can order it up. Use the Wham Show coupon code, 15% off. That's right. We're trying to take care of you. Also, Meth, something you might be interested in. They have a keg club. That's right. You can sign up for the keg club. They bring you a fridge, put the keg right in there. Anyway, it's nice. Fantastic. Yeah. And listen, if you want some great food and you're out in the area, go to Carp. Can't miss it. It's on the corner. Fantastic place. I had a burger there the other day. Avocado on it. It was extremely good. I thought I was eating healthy because there was avocado.
I love how you accented the avocado as if it's like this new experience you've had. Like, anyway, good for you, Wally. I'm happy.
Yeah. I probably lost weight eating that. Anyway, we're excited to have them on board. That's Ridge Rock Brewery. Now, by the way, huge show today because we have Claude Giroux, the huge signing in the offseason for the Ottawa Senators, a 3-year deal. And we're going to get to him in just a sec. We got lots to talk about. The other thing is, Meth, because of the signings this summer with DeBrincat and Giroux and, of course, Cam Talbot in goal, is they're moving up in the Stanley Cup odds. Now, I know they're a far ways away, but if you were to lay down $100 right now at sportsinteraction.com, you would, and they won the Stanley Cup, you win $4,800. It's not bad.
Good deal. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's worth it. I mean, it certainly makes cheering them on a little more enjoyable too, right? Yeah. Just seeing how the team can progress throughout the year. So they're in a good spot. They're not finished though, Wally.
I know, and it's fun to watch. I'm led to believe that Jacob Chychrun talks are not done yet. I think it's still a possibility. Really?
Well, yeah. And Wally, I know you've got some ties out there in the Valley, and you know what? I think for me, I think a lot of people would be very happy. Obviously, I don't want the team to rush though. I think this is an area that doesn't need to be addressed right this moment. If Chychrun's willing to come to Ottawa and join the party here with the Sens, I think everyone would be elated. But at this point, we've seen the Sens bring in some guys over the past few seasons that just hasn't worked out. Be patient, do a little due diligence, make sure they actually want to come here, make sure they plan on helping out this group and they're compatible and can skate. Those are always the big points for me.
Yeah. And I guess I'm excited the fact that that's still a possibility, that there is still the chance as we get perhaps a month away here from the start of camp or a little bit more.
So is this like Wally? Yeah. Is this like some insider info, or is this just you kind of throwing something out there hoping it sticks?
I never throw something out that I'm not sure of, that I don't have concrete evidence, that at least I know that it's a possibility. So I'll go with sources, and it's not something I made up, because you'll check my timeline. There's nothing on it that says I'm hearing this.
Okay, fair enough.
And by the way, go to sportsinteraction.com/Wally Methot. You can check some of the odds there. They're fantastic. I'm waiting for them to put up the odds to see if the Sens will make the playoffs or not. That's the one I'm interested in. Okay, so Matt, I got something for you here.
Yep.
The Claude Giroux signing. Now, I don't know if people he's very consistent in how he plays, and so a lot of people maybe not pay as much attention to him. But the guy's over 1,000 games, nearing 1,000 points. I believe he may be the second best unrestricted free agent signing in Ottawa Senators history. Here's the board. Okay. By the way, we called it special agents. We went out of our way to think of this one. Top 5 free agent UFA signings. Number 1, Dominic Hasek. Tough to argue. 2-time Hart Trophy winner, 6-time Vezina Trophy guy. Sergei Gonchar. So I'll put Claude at 2nd. Sergei Gonchar at 3. Alex Kovalev at 4. I mean, he was very good in his prime. And then Clark MacArthur came in at 5. But I could argue him with Kevin Denis. Now, these are guys, by the way, that came in having already established careers that really were stars, if you will, before they came to the Ottawa Senators. So people can say, well, Sergei Gonchar wasn't a star in Ottawa, but my point is how good he was before they got him. And these people signed as free agents.
Right. Well, the only argument there, Wally, would be because I'm assuming you had Hasek at number 1.
Correct.
Yeah. And he only played, one season.
I know, but that's not in Ottawa. He's a 2-time Hart Trophy. There's never been a better player signed with the Ottawa Senators.
Well, I guess you can attack this question from different angles, right? If you want to answer it, who is the most productive or who had the biggest impact on the Ottawa Senators? So you're saying who's landed, the biggest fish that Ottawa landed is essentially what you're asking me.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm with you with Hasek. I mean, one of the greatest goaltenders of all time. It's kind of hard to argue and put him below anybody else on that list, right? So I think.
Well, and before he got hurt, he had almost career numbers in Ottawa. I think he had the best career numbers he had in a season in Ottawa until the injury at the Olympics.
Until he got hurt. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, I mean, and by that logic, when you're looking at players like, of that caliber, including Kovalev and Gonch, this is a tough one, and I'll probably get attacked either way, no matter where I go with this one. But I do think like Giroux is significant. You could make a legitimate argument that he's number 2 behind Hasek, but with Kovalev, his numbers were pretty darn good too. I don't know. I like G at 2 only because of his experience on the international stage as well. Yep. I know he didn't have the success he probably wanted in Philly, although they had some pretty good runs there in those late 2000s or 2010, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But he was a Hart Trophy finalist.
I know. So I'll go with you on this. I'll lump in G at number 2 only because not just because he's a guest on our show, but I want to throw you a bone for a change, Wally.
Listen, you can argue it, but you'll be wrong. The guy and it's in Pearls of Wisdom, which I'm giving away one of my notes, and that is, for 6 years, he had the most points in the National Hockey League in an era that included Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin.
He's good. I know. I'm with you.
So that's all I was trying to get at. I'm just trying to pump him up, in case he's good. That's why I like him. Anyway, he'll be excited. I'm excited to see what he can do on this roster. And I know he's excited. I ran into him the other day.
Oh, you did? Where'd you run into him?
I'm with him skating. So I'll get into it because I got some pictures to share of just what an impact players like him have in NHL cities. And so we'll get into it during the interview.
Cool.
Moving on. And lots of Florida talk in this show. Also because we talk about defenseman Jacob Chychrun. Well, Mackenzie Weegar has been on the list, right, to end up in Ottawa. Well, he ended up being traded. And so that led to now Matthew Tkachuk is now in Florida. So I'm going to I know you know the trade, but for people that may not know the trade, for Matthew Tkachuk, Florida traded Jonathan Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar, a prospect, and I think Cole Schwitt, and a conditional first in 2025 for Tkachuk and a conditional fourth. That seems crazy to me. I know he's a 100-point guy, but what, your thoughts? It just seems like a lot.
So what do you mean? Are we talking about Huberdeau it being crazy because Huberdeau's a 100-point guy?
Well, so Huberdeau's a 100-point guy, but Tkachuk, they gave up a 100-point guy, a solid defenseman, a conditional first, and then Cole Schwitt, who was a prospect. Now, I understand that Huberdeau and Weegar are only signed for one more year. That I understand.
Exactly. Yeah. So I had like this idea that there's no chance, like I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, there's no chance they'll resign in Calgary only because, Huberdeau's rolling around in a teal Lambo. It's a big culture shock for him, right? And then, of course, with Weegar, I don't know enough about Weegar on a personal level. I know he's a great defenseman, but then I watched their little press conference and they were pretty adamant. Now, this could have just been them just saying it to say it, to appease the base or whatever, just to be those good guys. But they made it pretty clear that they're very interested in re-signing with Calgary. If I know, and that might just be hot air, right? But you look at the move, and I know a lot of writers, everyone was lumping in on Florida, saying Calgary with a landslide victory win. I mean, it's a win in that you get two immediate, incredibly impactful players in Calgary on a good team where they can continue to, make a run for it. Right. So I guess for this upcoming year, sure. Yeah. It's a great trade. We can't downplay enough what Tkachuk brings to the table, by the way, that contract, I was dying laughing when I saw that structure is incredible.
It's a good deal.
Like it's essentially lockout proof, et cetera, et cetera. Like it's that good with all the signing bonus money, making $1 million a year on salary alone. But anyway, no, he can fight. He's chippy. He's got a little bit of Claude Lemieux in him. He can score goals. He does it all. And I feel like Florida was probably missing a little bit of that, especially up front. So I love the move for Florida as well. I think it's a pretty good balanced trade. Now, if Huberdeau and Weegar decide to sign and stay there, and Huberdeau is just coming off a career season, over 100 points, as we just talked about in Florida, then maybe this conversation changes. But as of right now, with the way things are and them with only 1 year left on their deals, I got to think it's relatively even. And that's just, that might be a bit of a hot take, but I still like the move for Florida, bringing in a really young player, getting your term with them. You're locked in and you got a role player. So we'll see.
By the way, still working on getting Mackenzie Weegar on the show. I talked to him before he got traded because he skates with Claude Giroux. And I was like, hey, we'd love to have you on the show because you've created a bit of buzz in Ottawa. And he's like, yeah, great. Just send me a note. And then he got traded and I haven't heard from him. Now, that being said, I did text him during his press conference because I didn't know what was going on. So I'm an idiot. So he may never talk to me again. By the way, you spoke of that contract. We call this ka-chunk of change. Matthew, I'm in mid-season form today, by the way.
You are. Good for you.
Matthew got 8 years at $76 million. That's 9.5 per year. While Brady starts his 7-year, $57.5, I think it is, contract extension at $8.205 million.
Imagine being a dad. Like, imagine being Walt, and
who, by the way, made a couple of bucks himself.
Right. I like, all I can think is like just being a father going, you've got two highly successful young men in your family, kids, and they're making almost 10 sheets a year. It's like, what? It's crazy. So, good for them. They're going to have some wicked parties moving forward, I'm sure. But I can't help but think like just two siblings like that playing in the NHL at the same time on monster deals. It's awesome.
If my math is correct, it's $133.5 million just in those two contracts alone. So what do you get each other for like gifts?
Well, you don't get anything, right? Like,
I got you some sunglasses.
Yeah. I mean, eventually as you start playing, and it's the same with, with us, like, it's like, you just stop buying gifts. You're like, it's kind of silly. You go to dinner, you do something together, but getting gifts for people that make that much coin is not really, I mean, I don't know how much you're really doing for them at that point. Right. I think gestures go a little further. Can't believe I'm talking this way, but yeah.
So do you buy like a nice bottle of wine?
Yeah, for sure. That's a good call. A bottle of wine, or, you take your buddy or I don't know, wife, maybe. It depends who we're talking about here. You take them out golfing, or you go somewhere, nice dinner. That's typically what you would do.
Okay. My birthday's in December. Moving
noted.
On. Florida, again, has signed now, if you add Rudolph Balcers to the list, 4 former Ottawa Senator players. So we call this the Sunshine State. Huh? I stayed up all night.
I believe it. That's the sad part. Anyway, let's
Florida signings. Colin White at 1.2 million. Chris Tierney got a 2-way deal. Michael Del Zotto got a 2-way deal, and Rudy Balsters at a 1-way deal. 2-way deal. 2-way deal, 750 grand. What is that? I know they're up against the cap. Is Florida a better team today than they were at the end of the season?
Oh, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, it's hard, right? Like when you go on a run like that, you eventually run into some cap problems, and you're tight because all these players, you have a couple really good years. Some of your role guys start hunting for more money in term because their numbers are excellent because they're playing on a good team. Everyone's stat lines are inflated. And then eventually, you don't win. You have to make a move. You have to start freeing up some cap space. So, but never mind the ins and outs of the business side. I mean, I'm just looking at the names you just mentioned, like Whitey, for example. And I saw the comments, I saw the reaction people had when he signed. I couldn't be more happy for him. And I know you probably feel the same way. I mean, what a good opportunity, right? Like, it's just great. So I hope he runs with it, though. That's going to be the key for him. It's to go in there and be impactful right away in training camp, right? So start turning some heads. Don't be an afterthought. They're going to give him plenty of opportunity, but I do hope he rolls with it because he's battled injuries. He's had some bad luck, a little misfortune over the past couple seasons. Finally has a chance. And Del Zotto, he gets to go down into a stomping ground where he sells homes. So he's a hockey player / realtor. He's just going to be moving units every day, making tons of money. That'll make up for the lack of NHL time, perhaps. So everybody wins.
Yeah. He can hook everybody up, right? Get Whitey a place and Tierney. It is interesting to see, like, the Atlantic division now, to me, is full of intrigue, right? You got the Tkachuks now in the same division. You've got Florida, was the President's Trophy last year. How do they fare? They're still considered a cup favorite. Tampa, Detroit's made some moves. Like Toronto's now added Matt Murray. How do they fare? And of course, Montreal and all the stuff that's going on. It's exciting to see.
So the interesting storyline for me, you just mentioned it, was the Tkachuk brothers now playing more frequently against each other, right?
Like 6 times. Yep.
Playing against a sibling, I only ever played with my brother in minor hockey, like very early on until we sort of split up because I got 2 years on him. But I could not imagine playing at the National Hockey League level, like in the same division. It's going to be super, super interesting because they both play like right down that line, right? Like they're very physical, at times can be a little dirty. Maybe Matthew kind of teeters that line a little bit more, but now they're playing against each other. How do you approach it? Like, I guess the whole buddy thing and warmups is out the window now, right? Because like those games are important. You need to win those games.
Oh, interesting. Because remember during the pandemic when they played the All Canadian division, I think they played each other 6 or 9 times. Forgive me for not knowing the number.
Yeah.
They still met and hung out. Is it different because it's nobody's in the stands and it's just all weird?
It is wildly different, right? Like you're playing. I don't even like using the pet, but mind you, that was a great point you brought up, Wally. But I don't like using the pandemic, the bubble, if you will, as an example, because that was just strange, right? Like there was zero atmosphere in the building. Both those guys thrive off of fan reaction. And then I go one further and just be like, right now, like this is serious. You're playing a full season. I just feel like the mindset in players is going to be a little bit more different, right? It's ramped up. It's competitive again. All those unknowns of cancellations and whatnot are out the window. So I'm pumped to see how they play each other. I'm genuinely curious to see how this goes because Ottawa's looking to take that next step forward. They want to be good. They don't want to be a joke. They want to be taken seriously. And then of course you've got Florida coming off the heels of a pretty good great regular season. And so I think there's going to be a lot of competitive stuff going on there. And I think those brothers are going to clash at some point.
Okay. If you were to go to sportsinteraction.ca and look for a spot where it said which brother would have more points by the end of the year, who is it? Now Matthews clearly has the numbers now in his career, but going into this year, who scores more points?
I still think you go with Matthew because he doesn't have the same stature that Brady has. He's not the captain. Brady takes on more of a whole. His game's a little bit more rounded. When I say rounded, I don't just mean the defensive side of the play. I mean the physicality stuff, the fighting. He's got a bit. He's your prototypical power forward, right? Whereas with Matthew, he's a bit more of a pest. He's got a little bit more of that Marchand in him, but maybe obviously less skilled to a degree. But it's fascinating because they are different in many ways, right? Size is different. They bring a little bit different element to the game. So I'm reluctantly going to have to go with Matthew. What do you think?
I think it's Matthew, only because of he's shown it already. He's a 100-point guy.
Yeah.
He's got some pretty good players in Florida alongside. No offense.
It's nice that you're not
Norris
being a contrarian with me for a change. Like, you're actually agreeing with me. It's great. I love this.
I would love to see him. I would love to see Brady dominate him, obviously, but we'll see how it plays out. But I don't think head to head, I don't think the point totals are that different. I should have looked it up.
I should have looked it up too.
Well, you don't. I
don't do very much though. We all know that.
All right. We're going to get to Claude Giroux. Okay.
Got him.
There you go. Look,
you see
well
it
done.
right there?
Yeah, no,
little fruit fly or something.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay. Where do we go from here?
Well, I was just about to bring in Claude. Are you good? Or you still need to
rock.
Mr. Miyagi a couple things here?
No, we're good. We're good.
All right. You're watching the Wally Methot Show, proudly brought to you by Ridge Rock Brewery. Use their Wham Show coupon code and get 15% off when you go to ridgerockbrewco.ca. Up next, Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux, new 3-year deal for the Ottawa Senators. Kind of the hometown kid comes home. Excited to have you on the show, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
First of all, you're probably the only free agent this summer that's signed that didn't have to move somewhere. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always the same story for me. Every time it's the end of August, it's all right. Let's pack up and let's go to Philly. Let's get all our stuff ready for the season, and won't have to do that this year. So that's going to be a plus.
And G, you're in Canada, right? Like, you guys built a home out there?
Yeah, we've been living.
Man, that's so convenient.
Yeah, it's great. We're about 4 minutes from the rink, so
that's great.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Very nice.
Lots of questions for you. I don't even know where to begin, but I want to start with one of them is because it's your first NHL game. It actually is in Ottawa. You're wearing number 56. It's February the 19th, 2008. And then John Stevens, how does he tell you that you're going to be in the shootout?
Yeah. So I was playing juniors and I got a call from Paul Holmgren, who was the GM at the time. And he goes, hey, G, we're coming to play Ottawa. You want to come to the game? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go. He goes, yeah, but we need you to play. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll play. And I got you know, when you're 19 years old, first NHL game at home, family and friends were all there. And I was playing with Danny Briere and Scott Hartnell. And for me, I was ecstatic, very nervous, but very excited too. And then ended up going to shootouts, and comes up to me, gives me a little pat in the back, and he goes, G, you're going to go first. And I'm just like, all right, sounds I didn't score, but it was against Ray Emery. Every time I talked to him after that, I told him I had him, but yeah, the whole experience was just pretty crazy.
That's so good. I think there's video, like your dad's at the glass with a legit camera taking pictures, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that whole day must have been surreal for everybody in your family.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, when I got the call, it was maybe 2 days before, I could say maybe a day before. So for 2 days there, it was, everything happened so quick, and you don't even have time to think about what's actually happening. You know, yeah, it was just crazy. It's definitely something I remember forever.
We have a thing called Pearls of Wisdom, by the way. It tells you a little bit more about who Claude Giroux is, for those who don't know. It's brought to you by BEI, Bonisher Excavating Inc., helping to shape the Ottawa Valley. Need some landscaping needs? Call them at 613-432-1120. By the way, they are hiring, and reminder, drive safely at construction zones along the highway. Okay, Claude, here we go. 1,000 games played with the Flyers. That's second in team history. Obviously, Bobby Clarke is first. 715 games as Flyers captain. That's the most in franchise history. 443. That's the points over 6 seasons from 2010 to 2016. The most in the National Hockey League. And you're one of 3 players to score 400 plus points with the Gatineau Olympique. Includes the regular season playoffs and Memorial Cup. Luc Robitaille and Martin Menard are the other ones. Gatineau was pretty special for you. And I'll go back because twice you're passed over for the OHL draft. And I'm curious if you think much about your hockey career when you can't get drafted and then you're a walk-on in Gatineau.
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you're a kid, your dream's to play in the NHL. And first time that OHL passed me, you start doubting that you have a chance. And obviously I didn't think I had a chance, but I just loved playing the game. Ended up playing junior A for the Cumberland grads. And lucky enough, I was a walk-on in Gatineau, and Benoit Giroux, the coach there, he challenged me a lot, and I was able to have a good camp and make the team. And till then, it went great, and it was just an unbelievable experience.
And it's crazy because like your first year in Gatineau, you had almost 40 tucks. So did your agent or anybody, or I should say probably advisor at the time, anybody tell you why you were passed on? Like was there a reason? Were they say, oh, Claude's too small, or it's this or it's that? What was it?
Well, the year of my draft, I actually got mono. So I missed half of the season, and I wasn't a big guy. I don't really skate fast. And, I didn't really have the tools that you'd be like, oh, this kid has potential. Right. So,
yeah.
I don't know. It was a mix of everything, but you could ask the scouts more than me. I wasn't in those meetings.
So how do you go to Gatineau then and just all of a sudden catch fire? Like, were you there in training camp and realize, okay, like this is a little easier than I thought? Like, what was that thought process like going into that season?
I wouldn't say it was easy. I mean, during camp, Ben Giroux it was hell for me. He was on top of me. He was yelling at me, and I didn't really like him at the time, but it took me about a few months to kind of realize that he's doing this for myself. So, and playing with David Krejci didn't hurt. He was a very good player, and the whole experience. Like I remember the first 10 games of the season, I was at school, and somebody came up with the NHL scouting report, and I was gonna get drafted in the 6th round or something. And that's when I opened my eyes. I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually have a shot here. And I remember after that, I kind of dialed in a little bit more and just gave a little bit more and enjoyed it. And but yeah, that happened. That was another thing. It happened so quick that
awesome.
that first full year.
Yeah.
I guess it's a perfect time to lead into your favorite coach that you've ever had. And Benoit Giroux, by the way, is now coaching Arizona, for those who don't know, because it made me think, if you'd have stayed in Philly, you could be playing for John Tortorella this season. Would he be a guy you'd want to play with?
Yeah. I mean, I think my favorite coach only because he was my first coach in juniors, and the way he made me realize what kind of player I wanted to be. Early on, I was kind of a skill player, didn't really work, and he really changed that for me. I was able to, he put me in a lot of uncomfortable position, and kind of gave myself an identity kind of. So Ben Giroux I would say is probably my favorite coach, just because he gave me a path and changed the way I was as a player. And going back to Tortorella, I think he's a great coach. I mean, I like that type of coaching when coach kind of challenge the players and keeps the guys on their toes, make them feel comfortable. And most of the players thrive on that. So I'm interested to see how it goes with the guys.
See, I don't think most players do thrive on that, but or is it just for a short period of time?
I mean, I guess it depends on the player.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the generation, it's maybe a little change a little bit to old school to kind of the new generation. And I think there's pros and cons for both of them. You just have to find a balance that what works for the player. And usually the best coach, they know who to push and they know who to like kind of be a little bit nicer to. So when you have a coach that can do that for each individuals on the team, I think that's when guys can succeed.
Well said.
And be honest, how many minutes did it take you to decide to sign with Ottawa?
How many minutes? It was a lot of talk about it with my family, and there was maybe 3-4 teams that we kept talking about, and every time we're done the conversation in Ottawa just sounded great. And I mean, the hockey side of it, you look at the young players and how they took that big step last year. I mean, I know in every interview I say this, but they did take a big step last year.
Mhm.
They had not a great start of the season, and then you can see they were a hard team to play. They have a lot of character, the work ethic. I think it starts with the coach and the captain, and when you have that, it's just something I want to be a part of.
Your thoughts on seeing Matthew Tkachuk sign with your old team in Florida in that trade?
Yeah, that was unexpected. I think I don't think anybody could have seen that trade happening. It's a big one. I mean, I didn't really have time to really think about it, to be honest, because it's such a. I mean, Huberdeau's obviously an unbelievable player, and also McKenzie, and so I mean, those are three great players that. I mean, it's going to be great for Calgary, and I think it's going to be great for Florida. So, I know it's one that it's that kind of trade you wrap your head around, and you're not too sure, but who knows? Maybe it's going to be great for both teams.
Gee, this, and I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable position here. Like with Huberdeau, do you see him? Do you like, and I'm not saying you're talking to him every day and you know the answer to this, but do you see him staying there in Calgary, like long term? Like, is that something like the guy drives like a teal Lambo in Florida, doesn't he?
Yeah,
so
it's like, definitely going to be a shock to living in Florida, going to Calgary, but you know, he's a great guy, and his hockey IQ, and I'm just talking about hockey side of it. I think he's going to get along with that team, and I mean, they're a hardworking team, and this guy can bring a little different element to it. He's kind of a more like Johnny Hockey, controls the game with the puck, makes plays, but off the ice, it's he's not going to go on boat rides anymore. I think he's gonna have to buy a snowmobiling and just enjoy the snow a little bit. It's going to be different. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well said. Okay.
I know you skate with Mackenzie Weegar in the summer. Also, Calvin DeHaan, by the way, you may not know, just sponsored our show today. Ridge Rock Brewery. You can go to the website, 15% off. Does Cal ever bring any beer to the skates afterwards is what I want to know.
No, but in his defense, we do skate at like 11 a.m. So it's kind of, I understand. He did bring a 2-4 one time at my house. It was very, very nice of him. And I'm actually a big fan of Ridge Rock. During COVID, they delivered it, so it was perfect.
By the way, you can still get that delivery. Just go to ridgerockbrewco.ca. The other part about the summer, when I saw you last week, and I took a picture of you. There's like 8 kids. So you're coming off and they're waiting to go on, and they're waiting out. So they know you're here, or you're in the arena, and they want to meet you. And so they're all talking, and they're all like 10 years old. And so they need to get on the ice. They're like 5 minutes to go before they got to get. None of them are dressed because they're waiting for you, and they've got their sticks out. They want you to sign. But my point is, when they came out, you were nice to all of them. You signed whatever they wanted, took pictures. The point this is what it means to have an NHL team in the city, of how important it is for these guys. Now they've met a bona fide superstar who's playing in their city, who they can go buy the jersey, and they love it. And is it something you embrace now, the attention that you get? And I know you got it in Philadelphia and whatnot, but how important it is to be part with those kids.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer in it. And I mean, because I just put myself in those shoes when I was a kid, and I had a chance to meet NHL players, and they were always nice to me. I mean, I met Eric Desjardins when I was 12 years old, and he was the nicest human I've ever met. So, and I remember talking to my parents about it for the whole year. So when you meet guys like that, and they're just being easygoing and nice, it's hard not to be that guy. But at the same time, I really enjoy it. The kids are always get excited and talk about hockey a little bit and see how their season's going. I mean, I think sometimes I have more fun than the kids.
Are you getting hounded now at like dinners and stuff because you've signed here?
Yeah, hounded for what, sorry?
At dinners for like autographs or pictures or whatever.
No. I mean, if I go to Farm Boy, a few people will say hi and say good luck and excited that I sign here, but it's been great so far.
If the Sens win the Stanley Cup, will you shave your beard?
I don't think so. I think the beard is it's gonna stay.
It's beautiful. It's very full. You've always had a very full beard, eh?
Yeah, well, you have to work at it. It's not easy.
It's also a French gene. Like when I was playing in like minor hockey at like 12, the French teams always had facial hair, and I never understood how.
I didn't even know.
You didn't know that? I know. I don't consider you Quebec. I consider you obviously Ontario, but it was I don't know where I'm going with this. I'll let Wally continue.
Well, that leads me to my point of the attention you've gotten this summer. We've led lots of talks about you on the show. Have you ever watched our show?
Probably.
Yeah, I actually last week I wanted to be prepared for this interview, and I listened to the one about the draft, and all I could hear was Marc saying how I'm regressing and I'm losing speed. I'm maybe not the player people think. Maybe it's not.
I knew he was going to bring this up. I'm allowed to ask questions.
I know. I was in my car listening, and I was actually like cracking up a little bit. I thought it was hilarious, but it's okay. People have been saying I'm slowing down the last 5 years. So,
and you're not really, you're still looking pretty good. Yeah, I know. That's fair. Okay. Well, I will formally apologize. I never do this.
You don't have to
formally apologize.
Okay.
But if you do start off pretty slow, I'm going to be very critical early on.
That's fine. That's fair.
I'm just fucking with you.
That's fine.
Okay. I got some players I want to ask you about that you know pretty well. If I were to say the name Corey Perry, what comes to mind?
Oh, God.
Ooh. Yeah. I mean, pretty much what Marc said there.
Yeah, the worm.
He's a great competitor, obviously. He's just that kind of guy that loves to get into it. And if like when you play and you know he's on the ice, you have to be ready to get into it because that's just how he plays, and he thrives on it. That's when he plays better, and he knows it too. But
do you remember the elbow or the hit to the head?
No, I don't. No.
He got a 4-game suspension. I think you missed 5 games early on in your career.
Yes. I think it was my first week I got called up.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
I know. Like, Wally? What do you expect him to say there? Like,
well, I wanted him to say
it was good. It was a good experience.
No,
I laid on the ice for a bit.
No, my point was I wanted him to say he's the guy that gave me a concussion. Jaromir Jagr was your line mate at one point. We'd like to get him on the show if you can help with that. That'd be fantastic. But what do you know? What do you remember about JJ?
Oh boy. Like in your career, I think you like Marc, you play with guys that a lot of people ask you about because obviously he's a legend, and but you have stories about this one guy for days. You can have a beer and talk about it for 3 hours of talking about one guy, and he's one of them. Just the way he works. He was about 42 at that time, but like he'd be after a game, he'd be in the gym till 1 a.m, till 2 a.m.
See, I don't understand that. Like, that's crazy.
Like, just worked all the time. That's all he wanted to do. There's a reason why he's still playing. Like he's still playing in his league. Like that's crazy. But it's not surprising because nobody works harder than the Yags. And he taught me a big lesson. I was maybe 24 when I played with him, around that age, and he told me, he goes, "Gee, if you want to play for a long time, you have to work harder than everybody else." And he did it. So I just kind of followed him.
Yeah.
So what's different in your training now compared to when you were 24-ish? Is there much?
I think during the off season, maybe it's the same, but I think it's during the season. Just you don't have to do much. You just have to do a little something. Could be that one bike ride, could be a workout for 15 minutes. And that's one thing he taught me a lot, and it just helps you recover. If you stop working out during the season, you can decline a little bit because you're gonna be fine on the ice, but you won't have that power. You won't have that energy that you need.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby, you two fought a lot, or I should say battled a lot in the playoffs. What do you think of when you hear his name? And the two of you, obviously the Battle of Pennsylvania all the time.
Yeah, I think the rivalry was really high early on in my career. We had some great battles, and we ended up playing together the World Championship. And I mean, I did not want to like him, but we ended up being line mates, so it went great. And but anytime you get to play against a player like Sid or McDavid or Matthews, like you play against guys like that, I mean, there's not a better way to wake up and enjoy the challenge. So obviously Pittsburgh Flyers, they're big rivalry, but anytime I had a chance to play against them, the game was just more fun.
And one of the players that I think is the most lively that you've probably had as a teammate is Jacob Voracek, who Meth knows obviously very well from Columbus days. What is Jake Voracek like?
If Jake is on your side and your boys, he's the best man in the world. He'll go to war for you. He'll do anything for you on and off the ice. I mean, me and him had an unbelievable relationship. We played so many years together. He's an intense guy. On the bench, we've had some battles, me and him, just yelling at each other, saying that we're gonna fight, and then laugh about it 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes later, I mean, that's just who he is. Yeah. And I mean, that's like Meth. That's another guy you can have stories about for a few hours. Just one of the best.
Yeah.
So Meth, what's he like for you?
Well, no, I've told the stories. AG,
like
the
toothbrush.
When I played with him in Columbus. And I remember we had a really young core of guys, and I remember doing a day trip because we were playing in the West. So we were playing against Nashville. We were going to Nashville the day before, and he didn't pack a suitcase. He brought nothing. Like, he didn't bring an overnight bag. He didn't have like a little kit with like deodorant or toothbrush so we're like, Jake, what'd you bring? And he had this, like, I'm not kidding. It looked like a toothbrush that you'd clean a sink with, like heavy, thick bristles. It looked like 30 years old, and he had it on the inside of his coat pocket. And he goes, no, I got my toothbrush right here.
Just ready to go.
That's all he had. He had nothing, no fucking toothpaste, deodorant, anything. And that's just how he was. And his hair, like, his hair was just all like, looked like Sideshow Bob, but he
just
was
wakes up and ready to go.
Yeah. And he was such a likable guy. Like, everyone loved him. And everything you said was on point. He would yell at guys occasionally on the bench because he was so competitive, but like, you could never hate the guy. And he loved his music. He loved Betty Davis Eyes and all these songs that he would sing in the room, and with that thick Czech accent. It was so funny. Yeah, he's a beauty.
Yeah.
G, have you spoken much to Brady Tkachuk? As we mentioned, you are the longest serving captain in Flyers history, so you've been a leader for a very long time. Have you two spoken at all?
Yeah, we called each other a few times, few texts here and there, but yeah. I think he's pretty busy right now. He just got engaged, I believe. So
yeah, busy guy.
But yeah, I'm definitely excited to get to meet him and hang out with him. And I mean, he's one of the big reasons I wanted to come here is when you play against him, it's not fun. Like, it's going to be a battle. He's got a lot of character. He just loves to get into it, and it's just that kind of guy you want to follow, right? So I'm not shocked that he's a captain early on in his career like this. And I mean, I'm excited to hang out with him, but I'm more excited to play on the ice with him.
And G, what's like, I'm assuming you've had conversations with DJ or Pierre, and because just kind of tailing off that conversation about, the captain, what's your role going to look like as far as leadership goes? Obviously you're a mentor. Obviously you were a longtime captain in Philly. Have you had conversations with how you're going to handle that with a younger group now? Because you're in Florida, there's a lot of vets, a lot of superstars. Now you come to sort of a different dynamic team, right? So how does that look for you?
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, to be a captain or not to be a leader, you don't have to have a C or A, and you can't force it. You just have to be yourself. And I think when you have a lot of experience and you've been through different situation and you kind of know what to expect, I think you can talk a little bit more. You can about your experience and how it went. So to be honest, I'm just gonna go out there, be myself, and I'm not really a shy guy when it comes to speaking up. And but one thing that one of my coach 5 years ago told me, leadership is not about one guy. It's about 4 or 5 guys being on the same page, and then everybody follows. So I think early on camp is going to be important to get the message through, whatever that message is, find an identity, and everybody get on board. If you're not on board, well, I mean, get on board. That's pretty much it.
I know. That's really well said. No, I totally agree. And that's a good line about the leadership kind of, pulling the ship forward. So this is my only uncomfortable question for you. Power play. What's that going to look like for you right now? Where do you fit? Where are you playing?
Oh, I'm not worried. I mean, that's a great problem to have when you have
Yes.
too many guys. Obviously,
Agreed.
You got to put your ego on the side. And I mean, you want to win or you want your points. That's basically what it is. And I've seen a lot of teams, they have 2 power plays. Whoever's going is jumping on first. That's basically how it is. And if you don't get the job done, you have a guy behind you be like, hey, I can play better than you there. But like you've seen it before, you can have 2 great players, but have zero chemistry together. It just doesn't work. So early on, like, we need to find chemistry. We got to know who can play well with who. I mean, if I need to play in front of net on the power play, I mean, I would probably be terrible, but I'm ready to do that. Whatever the role is, you just have to embrace it and try to be the best you can at that position. Right. So, but you know how it is too. Like during the season, you'll play with a line for 5 games and then it's going to change. Everybody's asking me who you're going to play with. I'm like, I'll probably play with everybody. So we'll just see who it works.
And you got to understand that us people like Wally and I, we have nothing better to do than ask these questions. But I totally agree with you in that
it's true.
After training camp, you might be completely with guys you never expected that you'd be playing with, right? So a lot can change. Yeah. Totally understand. But I was just curious what your answer would be with regards to the power play, because skilled guys, they want their bread, right? Like they want to get their goals, they want their points. Yeah. But I love what you said there about like, do you want to win games? Or are you so concerned about points right now? And I think that's something that you'll probably have to drill home in training camp. Yeah.
And like everybody's talking about lines right now, but like I heard a lot of great things about Pinto, Formanton, Joseph. Like those guys can go up the lineup.
They can all play.
Like they come to camp in shape, ready to go, and they have great preseason game. Like let's give them a chance. Like, so anything can happen.
Yeah. I could hear it in your voice just a minute ago when you said like, get on board. You can hear the fiery competitor in you. So I'm curious, early on in your career, Steve Yzerman was this way. He was like, I want my points. And then he had a shift where there was a conversation about straightening him out. Were you a point guy early on, or were you always that I will tear your arm off if I have to win a hockey game?
Like I wouldn't say I was always worried about my points, but maybe my first 3 years, it's like I had to prove myself that I can contribute. I know I can, because the first 2 years I was playing third line center. I didn't really play power play. So if I want to get up there, I need to produce, right? It's not that I didn't care about winning or losing. I just wanted my points. It's just, you need to produce and like now I'm at a point in my career. It's like, okay, I know I can produce, but it's more important to win than to actually get the points. I don't know if that makes sense, but like it's kind of how it does.
Yeah, because you have to establish yourself, right, as an NHL player. I think that's going to be your challenge, especially now that this team's finally getting a little deeper. So guys are going to be dropping down a little bit more on the depth chart into more of a role player. And so you're going to have to tell them like to break that habit. Like, don't worry about your points. Just go out there and do your job. And I think that's probably going to be a challenge for some of you leaders out there.
Yeah. But that's another thing. It's, you got to get on board here. And, if everybody's on the same page and we win 1-0 for 4 games in a row, some guys don't have points. Well, we won four games, because a lot of guys here have been losing for a lot of years. And I can tell you that if you don't produce, but you play the right way and you win hockey games, it's way more fun than to get your 2 points and losing. So I'm not too worried about that.
Yep.
If we were to go by the top 6, which is Tkachuk, Norris, Batherson, DeBrincat, Stützle, and you, I think you're 10 years older than anybody else, maybe 9. Do you feel at all slightly old going into the season?
Yeah, no, not really. I'm young at heart, have a lot of energy. I like to compete off the ice, so I'm going to get along with these guys. I think so anyways. But, it's going to be different. There's a couple of young guys like Cam Talbot's a little older too. And I know Austin Watson a little bit. I've been talking to him. He sounds hilarious. But
good dude. Yeah.
All I heard is the room is great. So I'm very intrigued to see how it goes in there.
Have you seen, because I'm obviously not skating anymore in the summer, is Pinto or Sanderson, any of those young kids out there right now with you guys, or are they back home?
No, there's not much guys here right now. I know
Oh, really?
Zub
Okay.
is here, but pretty much everybody's gonna be coming end of August, I'm guessing.
There's
Yeah.
a few. So Sanderson skated last week or the week before by himself with Mark Kastelik and Shelly Kettles. He's still working on his wrist. And then
Oh, okay.
I ran into Sabrin, Zaitsev, Zub, and Kastelik the other day skating with Shelly. So there's a few guys around, but they'll start coming in soon for sure.
Fair enough.
Claude, do you have so you talk about hanging out off ice and do you have a special talent or anything off ice?
Oh boy.
Like ping pong? Like, are you a big ping pong guy?
I like to dabble at ping pong. I mean, I love, for some reason, I'm not the best, but I love playing bowling. I've always been a huge fan of bowling. Never had a bad time going to bowling and having fun, but yeah, playing pool, and I like to be active. I can play darts. Anything to compete. I get pretty competitive, and I get a lot of joy into it too. So
I hate losing as well. Do you have one of our favorite questions of all time, a favorite snack? If you were to watch a movie, what are you sitting down and cheating with?
I like chips. I'll have chips over popcorn for sure. I mean, I don't eat a lot of chips, but if I'm gonna have one, I'm gonna open a bag and I could probably finish it.
Does Tony get on you for your dieting at all? Is he like a big? No, he's not a big diet guy.
Well, we've been working out together for about 18, maybe 17 years.
That's why I asked.
He's learned to don't worry about my diet. I'll be fine. I like my weekly poutine. I like to, I mean, nice. I eat well, but once in a while you need to settle down and
you got to enjoy it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay.
Do you have any, and this is tough because I know players don't answer this question, any set goals for the season?
That is a good question. I haven't not gotten there yet. I wouldn't say the only goal I can tell you right now is to build this team to be a playoff team. I mean, we make the playoffs, and you know how it is in the playoffs, anything can happen. And but we're a young team. We need as a group to build confidence and build an identity, and having that experience going into the playoffs, I think that would be huge for the first year. And you know, whoever you play, that experience itself, it's like the best experience I would have in the playoffs is losing. When you lose in the playoffs, it kind of opens your eyes, makes you realize how hard it is. And it is hard. And my second year, we went to the Stanley Cup finals, and that was probably the worst thing for me because I thought it was going to be easy. And I thought, I'll be back here. Not a problem. But it's hard. It's hard to win. And sometimes you have to learn the hard way.
You just took the question right out of my mouth because I was going to ask you about the 2010 playoffs. Coincidentally, it's your game winner in a shootout against the Rangers that put you guys in. And you talk about just getting in and anything can happen. I remember that run that you guys went on. It was impressive to see because I think you went in as a 7th seed and ended up facing Chicago. Is that something you can lean on with that experience to say, listen, guys, I know it can happen. We just got to find a way to claw our way in here.
Yeah. I mean, I think in that Eastern Conference final, we played Montreal. They were the 8th seed and we were the 7th seed. And you don't see that often, but you just have to get in. You get in, and if you match up well against a team, and then you move on to the next one. And I mean, the playoffs, there's not a better rush than those few months. And you put all your season into one series against one team. There's not a better feeling out there.
I'm going to flip that. And I think that you guys set a record this year with 17 losses or something crazy in a row. What is that stretch like and what does it teach you?
Yeah, that was tough. We had a lot of injuries. I mean, we were missing maybe 3 or 4 of our top guys, and, you know, we just couldn't get out of it. And when you lose one and then you lose a second one, and then you have that feeling that you're never going to win a hockey game again. So that was tough. Probably the toughest I've had with the Flyers. We just couldn't find a win.
Is everybody looking for you for answers because you're wearing the letter on your chest?
Not really, or maybe they were, but yeah, that's a tough question. I don't know. Yeah. It's just that kind of time that everybody's got to grind and get out of it. And when you win that first one, obviously it feels pretty good. But yeah, having all those injuries last year, it was a tough season.
How long do you think the video tribute's going to be when you go to Florida?
As long as probably long like that I was there, maybe. A quick espresso.
Those video tributes always make me laugh now. Are you I don't know if you went back to Philly when you were with Florida. Are you looking forward to going back this time as a member of the Sens?
Yeah, I haven't played as a visitor at the Wells Fargo yet, but yeah, I don't know what to expect. Philly fans, so they might be giving me a standing O, and then they might boo me. So that's what I expect, and I wouldn't ask for anything else. I mean, it's the Flyers fans are absolutely nuts. Playing in front of them, their passion, intensity, it's just something I can relate to. So all those years, yeah, they're tough on their players, but when it goes well, they're just great fans.
It certainly is a special place to play. There's no question about it. If you didn't have 28 available to you, what number would you have chosen?
Oh, I have no idea. So I knew Connor Brown had 28, and I don't even have an answer for you. I would have probably asked my kid what he wants, and then just go with that.
Go with it. Yeah.
Interesting. Not 56.
I'm sure it would have been in my top 20. I don't know.
All right. I don't want to keep you much longer. We just appreciate you stopping by. It's been fun. We appreciate it. We labeled you the second biggest free agent signing in Ottawa Senator history behind Dominic Hasek. We think that that's pretty. I mean, he did win 2 Hart trophies.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
And we're glad to see you, and we hope all the best for this season. We're like legitimate. This is exciting. I think it's been since I've covered the Sens in 25 years. So thanks for coming and joining this team, because it really means a lot to this fan base to see you both to lace it up here.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. It was great talking to you guys.
Thanks, Chief.
Please don't watch any more episodes.
No, I can't take Mark just ripping me. I can't take it.
See you, Claude.
Okay, see you. Thanks.
I love G, and I love the fact that he called you out, and the fact that he actually watched the episode. Craig joins us now. Craig, welcome back. It's been a long time. You've been on a little bit of vacation. You got a farmer's tan going. Yeah, life's good.
I had a really bad farmer's tan until I went on vacation. Now it's just like a somewhat farmer's tan, which is much, much better. But I'm not like meth, man. There's not a lot of reasons for me to be walking around Ottawa with my shirt off. I mean, like, I don't know how to not do that. Right. Like, I'm going to take the dog for a walk and wear a shirt, or run errands and do a shirt. But like, I'm not going to just take my shirt off and wander around like a psycho. So I have a farmer's tan. My sock tan is brutal too. Like, I don't know. I
have a sock tan. Listen, this is a hot take. I can't stand it when I see some dudes walking around in water walkers. Yeah. You know, I'm talking about the Velcro flip-flop things, or just Birkenstocks in general. I think men should always wear shoes. I don't wear sandals. My wife thinks I'm nuts. I am kind of crazy, but always sneakers or nice shoes. Sandals in the summer, it's dirty. It looks unathletic. It's just not a good look for anybody. If you're out there listening to this, take those sandals, put them in the garbage, light them on fire.
No, I love sandals, especially from Gong Show that we use. Look, I don't want to. I hate wearing socks. I hate it with a passion. Yeah. I just want to put some flip flops on and go do whatever I got to do, and then come back. I don't understand your problem with flip flops. or
I just
sandals.
don't think. I think it looks very unflattering on a
Now
lot of people.
socks and sandals I have a problem with, but apparently that's the way it goes today.
That's an obvious. Yeah. That's a kid. That's like a young,
my
young
kid.
generation thing now. Eh? Like I see people like around the corner here. There's St. Mark's High School. They're always walking around in like socks and slides, and they're just walking around in them. And I'm like,
I do that, but I don't go. I won't go out like that, but I'll do that. I won't go to like the store, socks and slides. But yeah, I'll socks and slide around the house. But yeah, if I'm leaving the house,
I got them on right now.
I don't want to see your socks.
I'm just saying, in the house, because I have 4 dogs, I always wear flip-flops.
And you're going inside and outside and inside. And if you're wearing socks, you don't want to dirty your socks up going outside. So you just that's what's
I don't like people that wear socks in my house, or shoes in my house. If you come over to my house, take your shoes off. No, but people do it all the time.
Well, and you know what? I do it sometimes too, because the way my logic is, if my dogs are like far dirtier and they absorb like sand and dirt, and they're walking around free balling it in my house, why can't I wear shoes? Odds are my shoes are cleaner anyway, because they've only really been on pavement. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, let's just move on. I'm going to get frustrated. Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention, can we comment? Because Craig's been gone for a little bit, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
Craig, have you seen any of the editing Wally's been doing on those boards that he's been posting?
That's always a fun thing, to turn on my phone and see a bunch of notifications. It's like, well, let's see what Brent did. So,
but the funny thing is, it's not terrible. Like it's terrible in a good way. But then we ask him, like I asked him in a text message, I think it was today. I'm like, just be honest with Craig and I, Wally. How long did it take you to make that board? He's like, yeah, like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's the terrible.
It was one shitty picture.
Oh yeah.
It took 10 seconds. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I like that it said not Craig approved, because I probably wouldn't have approved that one with the old stamp of this is good or something, right? No, that's what's fun about it though, right? Is like, it's fun to make crappy things sometimes, and I do that. I like doing that too. So yeah, no, it's fun. But yes, sometimes I'm trying to be better with my phone, especially when I'm off. Like I don't check it all the time, so I'll turn it on and there's like 20 notifications, and it's like, oh, Brent's been trying to Photoshop again. So
you guys are just jealous of how good that is. That stuff is solid.
Yeah. I got a good text here. I got a good text here from Giroux after being called out publicly in front of everybody.
I like that.
I'm like, the fans are probably going to verbally assault me for that. And he goes, when I win the skating test at camp, I'll send you the numbers. So he basically just rubbed more salt in a wound that's already like gaping. Right. So we'll see.
Did you ever win a skate test, Matt? I think I remember you were one of those.
I used to kill those. Yeah. The skate tests, I used to destroy everybody, especially if there was backward skating involved. And I used to destroy all the bike tests, but that was a thing of the past. Yeah. Now I have 2 arthritic knees. So, I mean, it was great at the time, but now I'm paying for it.
Has the skate test changed at all, do you think? Or is it still the same basic up and down and whatever? Right?
Yeah. Up, down, around the cones. It's very hard for those listening. The skate test is the test that everybody dreads.
I don't want this to sound like anything. From my vantage point, it never really looked that hard, because it's just like you do it a couple times and then everybody's gasped, but it's
the recovery, right? So you're going all out and you don't get a long break in between reps. And I think you do it like 5 times. And so right after sometimes they'll even prick you for like blood. They'll test your blood. They check your heart rate. We're all wearing heart rate monitors. There's like 4 different coaches on the ice with the stopwatches. I guess maybe I'll save this for our training camp special episode, but yeah, it's that's the one time a year that every player is legitimately nervous going into the arena. It's for the fitness testing. It's the worst day of the year. And then when you're all done, you realize how meaningless it was to a degree, in that coaches don't really care. They just want to find out who's completely out of shape, right? Because once
it's outdated.
Once the games start, nobody gives a shit about what you did on the bench press or what you did on the shuttle run or whatever. How
do you think Jean-Gabriel Pajot feels over the beep test or whatever
it's to expose the
guys who weren't doing shit all summer, right?
Exactly. It's to expose the guys who are out of shape.
Okay, which player is coming in to training camp not having done anything?
Hey man, you'd be surprised. There's always an outlier or two. There's always 1 or 2 guys that maybe didn't go as hard as they probably could have. Or maybe their eating habits weren't really good, but they were working hard. In any case, that's usually it ends up being a project for the strength coach.
So Brady Tkachuk shuts it down and does nothing all summer, shows up, fails every test.
Yeah.
What on earth would ever happen to Brady Tkachuk? Nothing.
No, that's not true. Now, publicly, they're not going to sewer him in the media, obviously, but they will certainly have a meeting with him at the rink, and they're probably going to work on it. So you join the Fat Club. When you're in the Fat Club, you got to do more bike rides. The strength coach is going to give you a dieting plan. There's a lot of stuff that they can implement to sort of change that. But the problem is when you're very out of shape going into camp, it's like you're playing catch up with it. Yeah, you don't get it back until the following year. It's hard, right? Because you don't have time.
But my point is, Brady Tkachuk is still going to be in the lineup and still going to play 20. That's all I'm saying. Like,
if he shows up fat though, like after signing that contract and he's your captain, like that would be a problem, I think. Like, now, granted, Erik Karlsson showed up heavy one year.
Yes, that's
and
what
here's
I'm
the
trying to
thing:
think of.
He had a bit of a tough year though, like in a tough off season and lots going on. But yeah,
I think he had his best year after that. Like he showed up fat and it was his best.
There was what we were calling him, like Pablo or something. I forget what we were calling him, but like he had put on some weight.
Oh yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, he was such a freak of nature, right? He was such an incredible athlete that he just made it work. Now, was he playing up to his insanely high potential? No, not at the time. But he got there over the course of the season, right?
I think he won a Norris that year. I remember thinking like long term, like that was.
Was that the year he won the Norris?
I think so. I think it was the last one he won.
What had also happened was he quit chewing tobacco for a while, right? So he went cold turkey, which for those who don't understand smoking or nicotine in general, when you just stop, you tend to eat more, right? Like you're looking for something to just chew on or whatever. And usually it's food. And he put on a lot of weight. And then I think he started picking his bad habit up. But, alternatively, he ended up, his play on the ice got better. So
I think
I'm not
it was
advocating for people to chew tobacco. I'm just saying in his case, it was a good way to kind of pull back on the food.
I think he just needed like a full summer of rest too. Like he was playing like 30 minutes a night, like every night. Yeah. And so it's like almost just like it probably helped him, but it didn't. Yeah. I remember it didn't help him so much in the fitness test.
Anyway, Eric's the man. Eric's the man. And I got no criticism of his game. I was critical of Giroux when I said he was regressing. I probably shouldn't have said that. That was probably just a really hot take that didn't mean very much.
No, but
I'm firm. I'm firm with my hot takes. Like I will back up something I said a year ago, Wally. This isn't me going, I don't want to get Claude mad. It had nothing to do with that. I just felt like when I watched him play with Florida when they came to Ottawa this year, and that was probably because I had never had that vantage point. Usually I'm on the ice with him, but I was thinking, okay, like not too flashy. So that was sort of the idea that I had from his play, and that's kind of where my thought process came from when I did the show on the draft.
So here's my defense of you, and I don't like to be nice to you this much, but at 34, you're different than 24. So and regressing can be a small.
It just means you're not going to get any better. That's all I'm saying. You're probably going to slowly start to. You know what? I thought it was back and find the clip.
I thought it was a nice way. Yeah. So I thought it was a nice way of you saying you're not getting prime Claude Giroux. He's starting to slow down here. Like I don't know.
He's going to light it up. He's going to. I
like you guys. And I agree. I hope he lights it up. Hey, we all hope he lights it up. He's such a good dude. I mean, anyway, I'm babbling now.
Okay, well, we'll have him on at the All-Star break when he's about to make his 9th appearance or whatever it is. All right, boys, go enjoy the sun. I'm about to go work out, so I'm ready for training camp. And
me too.
We'll see you next episode. See you guys.
Peace.